Okay, are we there? I believe we're here. This was a. Do you have me there now, Mike? Give me a wave. If you got us, we're on. We are up. Can you hear us? All right. Apparently not. Okay, we are streaming here. And do you have me now, Mike? Yeah. Okay, we're again, something that was totally preventable. That was on my end. That was my fault. And do you? I'm just waiting. I want to make sure we're on the radio here. Do we? I'm not sure if Mike has the feed yet. So we're just kind of waiting. Good morning, Jen. Good morning, Corey. Yeah, that was an issue. I will explain once we get on the air. Are you there, Mike? Yeah, that was. No, he apparently. Hold on. Do you have us there now, Mike? Sorry, this is we'll see what he gets here. Yeah, we are streaming on video, and we're going to get right to things here. Do you have me now, Mike? Are we there? He'll give me a wave. He'll give me a wave when we're on the air. Crystal does. Hi, Crystal. Yeah, we're good on the video feed. We're just waiting for the radio feed at Legacy 1160 WSKW, and we should be there momentarily. And I'm going to wait for the radio. I'm going to wait for the radio feed to begin here. And I think he got my message. We're waiting for a refresh of the stream and to start broadcasting on the radio. We are Legacy 1160 WSKW, by the way. I am John James. I'm your host for Freedom's Pep Rally. And Freedom's Pep Rally is brought to you by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. And we are streaming on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter and on VK.com, all powered by Moody's Collision Center. And our audio stream is all powered by Harry J. Smith Company on Sanger Avenue in Waterville. And you can listen 24/7 to the audio stream. And are we there now, Mike? Do you have us? Can you give me a wave? Apparently not. Apparently he doesn't have us. I don't know what's going on. I do not know what is going on. So we're just kind of in limbo here. We're going to be talking about the Minneapolis Police Department, not the Minneapolis Police Department, but the small town where this shooting took place. You stand by, and I appreciate your patience here. This is out of the norm. Still no audio. That's what Mike's saying. Still no, but they're hearing. We're All right. I tell you what we're going to do. We are going to have to take a break here, I think. I don't know. Hey, Joe, good morning. Welcome in, bud. Okay, we have audio. There is audio. Hold on a second. Let me give Mike a call. And this is while this looks very unprofessional, we got a ton of viewers here. The viewers apparently like.
Hi, this is Mike Fiver. Sorry, I can't take
the
call.
No, hey, Mike can't take the call. Okay, we have. I think I know. I think I can solve the problem here in just a heartbeat. Oh, okay. All right. So you've got the audio now. Can you give me a wave? If you've got the audio, can you give me a wave, Mike? You don't have to do the wave. Just give me a wave. All right, they're streaming the audio from another place. Apparently. And as soon as we're on the radio, we will begin with the show here on Legacy 11. Do you have us now? All right, do we have the audio? We are there? Okay. The initial audio, Mike. I don't know what the second audio was. The second audio problem was. Hey, the first audio problem was a sound card not show. I didn't have the sound card on here. So that was the first problem. The second problem, I don't know. I don't know what the subsequent problem was. But I don't know if you realized this. You can also accidentally mute the audio at in the tab of the browser. I don't know if you realize that, but that can be done, and that's very easy to do. But apparently we're going on now. We're doing good. We're rocking and rolling, and I still don't have a vehicle. And I've just got a text, I guess, confirming that we're on the air. Okay, we're on now. And the initial problem was my problem. The second time, I don't know what happened. So let's get things going here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. We're going to start fresh. We're going to start fresh like summer's eve. That was a terrible comparison there. We're going to start out with today in history, and then we're going to get into the meat, into the nuts and bolts of all of the crap that is going on. Let's go to the Associated Press right now. The date is the 13th, and this is what happened in history.
April 13th, 1970.
Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main bus undervolt.
Apollo 13 is crippled on its way to the moon when a tank containing liquid oxygen bursts in its command module. The 3 astronauts on board are forced to return to Earth, relying on their lunar module as a lifeboat in space. 1743. Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence and America's 3rd president, is born in the Virginia colony. 1986. In Rome, Pope John Paul II becomes the first pontiff to officially visit a synagogue. It's one of John Paul's most visible moves to improve the Catholic Church's relationship with Jews. 1964. Sidney Poitier is the first black performer in a leading role to win an Oscar for his role in Lilies of the Field. And 1997.
It's something that I've always dreamt of. I think any golfer who's a kid has always dreamt of playing the Masters and winning it, and I was able to do that.
21-year-old Tiger Woods becomes the youngest player to win the Masters tournament. Woods is also the first person of either African American or Asian heritage to win the Masters. Today in history, April 13th. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
All right, welcome back. Freedom's Pep Rally. I'm John James, your host. Thank you to Mike Violet and Jay Hansen for bearing with me there. Initially, I had the problem on this end. As soon as I started seeing you post, I knew what the problem was. It's a sound card issue. It was. I mean, it's not an issue. It was an issue that I hadn't done something I was supposed to do, but it's done now. We're good. We should be good to go. Everything's copacetic, as they say. I think, are we all still good on the radio there, Mike? Are there any glitches? Everything perfect? Everything A-okay? Flash me the okay sign, if you will. If it's okay, flash me that okay sign so I know. I need to know because it feels good to know. All right. I'm guessing we're good. I'm getting no okay from Mike. I think he's ignoring me. I think he's upset with me, and who could blame him? All right, here we are, and I can see him in the studio right now, by the way. You can't, I can. I can show you him, but I won't because that would be mean. Not that he's doing anything bad right now. Oh, we are good. Okay. All right, so I get the thumbs up. That's great. That's good. Don't flash the okay. 2 thumbs up. Oh, 2 okay signs. You know that's racist, Mike, right? You know that's racist, the okay sign. I was told that. So be careful of that. It's just, see, I mean, this stuff, it's all ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And I want progressives who are listening, Democrats, people on the left, who aren't all progressives, who aren't all leftists. Leftist is not a good term. Liberal is okay. I'm fine with liberals. I'm fine with people who identify as being left of center. Leftists and progressives to me are one and the same. Dangerous, dangerous folk. And there's evidence of this all over the place. Boy, do I have some great stuff. I've got some great audio for you this morning. We had great audio yesterday. We've got some great audio today. And you're going to want to stick around to hear some of what we've got. We've got a 9:23 right now, so we don't even have to take a break right now. Let's start out with a shooting yesterday at a school in Tennessee. Officers were responding to a shooting yesterday afternoon at Austin East High School in Knoxville. Multiple gunshot victims, including an officer. One person died that we know of, that I know of. According to a release from the Knoxville Police Department, at around 3:15 yesterday, multiple law enforcement agencies responded to an officer-involved shooting. Based on preliminary investigation, Knoxville police responded to Austin East Magnet High School on the report of a male subject who was possibly armed in the school and was armed. Upon approach of the subject, shots were fired. A KPD officer was struck at least once and transported to the University of Tennessee Medical Center with injuries that are not expected to be life-threatening. A male was pronounced dead at the scene, while another was detained for further investigation. There are no known other gunshot victims, no other known gunshot victims. Per standard protocol, of course, the Bureau of Investigation, Tennessee TBI, leading the investigation. The suspect is reported to be a black male. And the only reason I say that is, and again, if it were up to me, and the way I have always been, always been, and the way it should be, colorblind. A shooter is a shooter. A shooter is a shooter, is a bad person, is an evil person with evil intent. That's the way it is. But, because the left loves, they don't just enjoy, they love to use race. They love to make you angry at each other. They want racial division because they love it so much. They jump right on things immediately. The other day, when the Muslim from Syria did the shooting at the store, they were all over, including opportunistic, Me Too phony Kamala Harris' niece was on Twitter immediately saying, "Oh, another white guy having a bad day." Shut up. This is why we have to bring color into everything, because you will not shut up about it. You are evil, you are racist, and you're trying to project it on us. And we are sick and tired of it. And this is not going to end well for you. It is not. You talk about being canceled, you are going to be canceled in a big way. That's not a threat, but we are done taking it. We are now pushing back. That's all I'm saying. We are pushing back. We aren't going to let you call us racists or homophobes or xenophobes or anything else anymore without pushing back, period. Because you deserve it, you've asked for it, and you are projecting yourself onto us, period. You are the racist. You are the xenophobe. You are the problem. Get used to it, own it. And if you don't think you are, then do a little research, learn it. Understand that you are being led around by the nose by your leftists. They are your puppeteers. You are the Kool-Aid drinker. You are the sheep. Bah! You are the one that's being led around to slaughter, not us. We're awake. We are objective. We understand what is going on, and we're sick and tired of you telling us what we are when it's you who are guilty of exactly everything you call us, period. Stop it. We don't buy it. People see it. You aren't fooling anybody anymore. This is just completely and totally out of hand. Are you not tired of this crap? Every single day, it's something. Yesterday, this press conference in Minnesota was a joke. It was literally a joke. The press was asking baited questions, saying there was no riot, excoriating the police chief for doing his job, trying to keep his men and women safe, while they took care of rioters. No, not peaceful protesters. Oh, they're all so peaceful. Oh, look at them. They're just walking around saying, oh, please stop. Baloney. Wake up. Stop lying. The leftists, they know you will believe anything you're told, regardless of what you see. You see all that rioting out there? That's not really happening. Listen to us. We know better. We're progressives. We're woke. We're telling you right now, those are peaceful protests. Those people throwing bottles and projectiles at police, those are peaceful protesters. Don't believe what you see. Ali Velci there in Minneapolis, Minnesota last year. Well, these are mostly peaceful protests as explosions and fire rage behind them. And the leftist lemmings are saying, yep, they must be peaceful. Ali Velci of MSNBC said they were. And Joy Reid said, if I don't believe it, I'm a racist. So I guess I better follow along and do what they tell me to. I am a compliant sheep. Bah! I do a terrible sheep. I apologize for that. Is this not getting disgusting? This is unbelievable. It's horrible. This kid that was shot in Minnesota shouldn't have died. I agree. He shouldn't have died. He shouldn't have died. It appears due process. Oh, but the mayor in Minnesota didn't want due process. Due process. Don't fire the officer. Well, maybe she will be fired. She made a terrible mistake. Now, I'm not here to excuse what she did. No way. I, like everybody else, I have a ton of questions. I have a whole lot of questions about this. Police train. They train with a firearm. They train with a taser. They train with a nightstick. They train with handcuffs. They train. Plus, this was not a rookie. This officer was like 20-year veteran. And she said something to the effect of taser, taser, taser. Now, I don't know if you saw the video, but one officer, initially the guy, Dante, got out of the car, and it seemed like he was going to comply. I mean, the officer was trying to handcuff him. Then for some reason, the female officer came in and sort of kind of reached in and started with the hand. I have no idea. I have no idea what was playing out. I'm not a cop. What do I know? But then this Dante, he pulled away and jumped into the car. Well, at that point, the car is going to become a deadly weapon. This kid isn't going to, this kid's going to drive off. He's going to go screaming down the road. So the female cop that came into the picture later said, tase him, tase him, tase him. And as she's saying that, you can see the whole thing playing out. She pulls her duty weapon and points the duty weapon at him. And she shoots. She fires a shot. And he takes off down the road and crashes, and he dies at the scene. Very sad. I've got questions like anybody would. Why did this happen? You learn when you train with guns. I don't try to portray myself as an expert, but I know a lot more about guns and gun etiquette than a lot of people do. So you train to the point where you've got muscle memory. And in a crisis, muscle memory takes over because you're not thinking clearly. And supposedly the firearm is on one side, whatever your dominant hand is. In my case, it would be my right hand, so I keep my gun on my right side. And the taser, I thought, this is what I understood, I may be wrong, again, I'm just speculating, is on the left side. And if you train as much as you should, and police train very, very intensively. And again, this isn't a rookie cop. So what happened? What happened to the muscle memory? And I've never held a taser. I don't know what a taser feels like, but I know what a pistol feels like. I saw that look like a Glock, which is pretty fat. It's got a pretty fat grip on it. Now, again, I don't know what the taser looked like, but you're grabbing it with your dominant hand, and it's got a fat grip. Now, again, you don't know what's going through this woman's mind. As this is playing out, she's scared, apparently. She's high on adrenaline. But why would she grab her service weapon instead of the taser and not realize it even as she's yelling, taser, taser, taser? I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of things to be answered here. And I am not excusing it. I'm not saying it's justifiable. Clearly, it wasn't a justifiable shooting, taking into consideration she didn't intend to, allegedly, shoot with a gun. There has to be due process. All we know is there's a black kid, and he literally, a kid 20 years old with a kid, he had a kid, is dead, and he shouldn't be dead. And the officer is, if she's not relieved of her duty, she's certainly going to be on leave and is on leave. So that's where we are right now. And this is, sadly, this is why we always, when we say there's been a shooting, we always have to, and I hate doing this, we always have to say the color of the shooter. Otherwise, it's assumed it's, and this isn't just an isolated incident where one or two people said, it's probably a white guy. No, they went on matter of fact all over the place. The mob descended after the shooting at the, was at a supermarket with the Syrian Muslim who had ISIS sympathies, by the way. But the Twitter mob went on right away and said, another white guy with another white guy with an assault weapon having a bad day. All right, well, who's bringing race into to our culture? Who will not stop talking about it? I dare say mostly white virtue signalers who think they are better than you and me and aren't. They're really much more ignorant than us. They don't realize it. They're ignorant, but they've got a big, loud mouth and a big platform. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Let me tell you something. When women do this, and a lot of women go on Twitter and Facebook and do this, and I'm not talking about in my circle of friends. I don't see it. All of my friends that I have, and I have a lot of liberals on my Facebook page, and I don't mind that. I have good conversations with them from time to time. But I will tell you something. You get these women, and I hate to seem, this is going to sound sexist, and let me say this will trigger you right up front. But a lot of these women with huge, I'm talking about hundreds of thousands, millions of followers. They have all these followers, and they know it. They know it, by the way, because they peddle sex. And Wait a minute. I don't mean they're peddling. I don't mean as in they are prostitutes. But everybody loves an audience. Everybody loves to be adored. Everybody loves a lot of fans. I mean, who wouldn't, really? So you've got women who are, they some of them, by the way, are very, very talented. But you look at, for example, look at somebody like Kim Kardashian. Now, most women don't go to the extent that she did, but she had the video. She and Ray J, whatever the cat's name was, that made Kim Kardashian, is the sex video. That made her what she is, because sex sells. And I don't care if it's soft porn, hardcore porn. I don't care if it's just, something that's somewhat stimulating. You got a beautiful woman and she wants lots of followers. And these are the people who oftentimes get heard most on Twitter and Facebook when they spew the hatred and the vitriol, because they have a big audience and they like to use their voices. I see this. I've watched this. I'm not making this up. I've watched this. I have watched this. And I'm not saying all beautiful. And I don't, by the way, look at me. Do I look like I mind seeing a beautiful woman? No. But the audiences that some of these people, some because of raw talent, no question about it, who just happen to be beautiful, but others use their beauty to gain an audience, and that's okay too. But using this audience, they use their platform and their audience to spew venom and hate and draw conclusions. I saw several of them after the Syrian Muslim guy went on a shooting spree, saying another white guy who's having a bad day went out and shot people of color. Well, they weren't all people of color who was shot, for one thing. And he was not a white guy having a bad day, for another thing. But because of the big audiences of some of these social media accounts, and there's some men in there too, I'm not going to lie to you, but take it for what it's worth. This is stuff that this is all I do. This is my work. This is what I look at. And I've gone through social media and I've gone through a lot of stuff and I've seen a lot of different things. And many, many, many of the ideas that came out initially, and I'm sure about this shooting too, the one in Minneapolis or just outside Minneapolis, I'm sure a lot of it was jumping to conclusions, as is evident by the riots. The riots, why did the riots start? And are they going to spread across the country like they did after George Floyd, whose trial is for Derek Chauvin is going on just miles away from where this took place? This is just horrible timing, horrible location. But it is what it is. So a riot's going to start all across the country now. I mean, you got people looting, you got people taking alcohol, liquor, and iPhones and whatever else because a guy was shot by a police officer. What? Peaceful protest, baby. That's what America's all about. Chris Cuomo, who says protests have to be peaceful? First Amendment, Chris. See, these people, and the media is just as bad as the social media mob. The media mob is just as bad. They too have a huge platform, and they use it to sow the seeds of hate. On and on it goes. We've got to take a break here. I didn't mean to go, wow. Okay, I guess we do. We'll be back. Stick around. A lot more to get to. We get a lot of audio to get to. I want you to hear it. And again, don't take me wrong on any of this stuff. My heart goes out to the family of this kid who was shot. This kid should have never died. He should have been tased. I certainly would agree with that. He jumped into the car. He was non-compliant. The first thing you learn about police interactions, before you ever have one, I hope, comply. Comply with the officer, and there's going to be a lot better ending. It should have never ended like this. Never in a million years ended like this, based on what we saw in the video. But compliance goes a long way. We'll be right back. Stick around. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160, WSKW. Not all bed liners are alike. Line-X spray-on bed liners offer protection from every angle with no lost cargo space, as well as protection from cracking, bubbling, and peeling with a factory-like finish and a nationwide guarantee. See the difference for yourself at Line-X of Augusta, 509 Main Avenue, Farmingdale, your authorized Line-X dealer. Your truck is your baby, and Line-X of Augusta has some sharp accessories that'll make your ride stand out, from truck caps and tonneau covers, Nerf bars, cargo management, towing supplies, mud flaps, and ladder racks to chrome accents. Dress up your ride today at Line-X of Augusta, 509 Main Avenue, Farmingdale.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Town Line Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Town Line Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Town Line is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind, with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
Drug Take-Back Day is coming Saturday, April 24th from 10 to 2. Prescriptions left in medicine cabinets are fueling Maine's drug epidemic. In 2020, Maine saw 502 drug overdose deaths, a record number that Maine is not proud of. Early reports suggest that 2021 may break that record, with 58 deaths caused by drugs in January alone. But you can help by safely disposing of unused, unwanted, or expired medications with no questions asked. To find a drop-off location for Drug Take-Back Day, Saturday, April 24th in Somerset or Kennebec County, visit facebook.com/Somerset Public Health and click on events. Can't make it to Drug Take-Back Day? Don't worry. Secure prescription drug drop-off boxes are available anytime. A complete list of locations can be found at somersetpublichealth.org/meds. Make sure to check Somerset Public Health social media for tips on how to safely store medications as well. Don't wait. With your help, we can curb the drug epidemic in Maine.
Hey folks, who's thinking about spring? Hi, this is Bernie from Trailside Performance. If you're taking on those tough chores around your property, come check out the #1 selling farm tractor in the world, Mahindra. Not only are Mahindra tractors tough, but they come with a 7-year warranty to back it up. With Mahindra, there's no regeneration, no diesel particulate filter, and no hassle. I personally invite you to our Winslow or Newport location to learn more about Mahindra and their awesome discounts and finance programs. At Trailside Performance, we service what we sell, and we sell Mahindra.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland, but still breezy northeasterly winds. Mostly sunny tomorrow, mid-50s to near 60 degrees away from the coast. Partly sunny 50s on Thursday, with rain and the chance for some snow Friday into Saturday morning.
Good morning. Welcome back, Mikkel. See him in there commenting this morning. We've got the YouTube back up. He just posted. I put it on the screen right now. This is Legacy 1160 WSKW. I'm John James. We are Maine's Heritage Station. 6 hours of live local talk every single day. Pick us up on Legacy 1160's Facebook page. You can also get us on Facebook. You can get us at YouTube, all powered by Moody's Collision Center. We are live there. We are live streaming now video on the legacy1160.com page if you want to go there and watch. And what else? We're all over the place. We're Right America Media. We're on the Right America Media Facebook page. We're also on Ram Radio. If you go to rightamericamedia.com, and then to Ram Radio, you're going to find us there. And they're even going to be doing an app. I haven't talked with Juan to see where they are on that. But a lot of big things happening now. Mikkel just posted Boston Herald reporting FDA suspended Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine because of increasing events of fatal blood clots. Now, I Interestingly, and I wasn't going to do this right now, but where you have brought it up, Mikkel, I think I'm going to let me find this Johnson & Johnson story if I can, because this is something I had read about the other day. 11 people. This is in Colorado now. This is just in Colorado. This came out the other day. 11 people who suffered adverse reactions to the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, prompting the closure of a vaccination site in Colorado, experienced symptoms, which weren't unusual, I don't think, for a vaccine: nausea, dizziness, and so forth. 2 people within the group were also taken to the hospital for further observation. 9 others were treated with juice and water. And health departments stressed that side effects experienced Wednesday were consistent with what can be expected with a 1 dose, which is what Johnson & Johnson is. It's a 1-dose vaccine. The state has no reason to believe that people who were vaccinated today at Dick's Sporting Goods should be concerned, according to the health department. But what if there is more to it? I haven't read the Boston Herald article. I can't speak to that, Mikkel. But blood clots, we've heard similar things from AstraZeneca, which is not being given here in the United States right now. Germany and some other places, people died of I guess, rare blood clots. And if, this, and again, this is why I worry. Call me a worrywart. And anybody who is just a true believer in government, I'm sorry, I have this thing that is not unique to me, but it seems to be more unique to conservatives than leftists. I have this thing I use called critical thinking. And I make individual decisions. Now, I know this is new to some people. These are new concepts. And I am skeptical of what the government tells me. Call me a disbeliever. Call me a non-believer in government. The government does not have our best interests at heart. I don't believe that. I would rather be skeptical and survive than be a follower and let them achieve whatever corrupt and ultimate goal they are trying to achieve. I don't want to be part of the experiment. Well, we saw they were getting the Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. They got their vaccine on TV. Really? Are you sure about that? Are you absolute? Well, I believe them. Well, of course you do. If you believe them out of hand, unquestionably, then you just might be a sheep. I believe nothing I am told by the government. I don't believe it. We're the IRS. We're here to help. We're here to help you with your finances. Right. Sure. Sure you are. There's a woman who is a YouTube sensation, and she is great. What's her face? No, that's her handle. That's what she uses for a handle. What's her face? And she speaks to this issue here that we're talking about right now. I didn't mean to get off the whole police issue thing, but when I saw Mikkel's comment there, and it reminded me of that Johnson & Johnson story that I had read. Yeah, right. Oh, okay, this is okay, a couple of things just coming in here. Thank you for the contributions. Melissa, you asked Joe, He said the vaccine wasn't out until he came into office. Yeah, he did. Over 1 million people had already been vaccinated. You are absolutely right about that, Melissa. Sam, CDC and FDA shut down Johnson & Johnson vaccines the day after Janet rolls it out on her mobile vax unit. Is Oxford Casino liable for hosting the genocide? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. And Mikkel, this is why the COVID vaccine is operating under the EUA, Emergency Use Authorization. Correct. I mean, it wouldn't if this hadn't been an emergency, it wouldn't have been approved this quickly. Are you kidding me? We still don't know what the long-term effects are. I mean, they maybe the vaccine is saving lives. I'm not going to deny that it may be saving lives. It's obviously it's taking some lives too. There's anecdotal evidence. And again, AstraZeneca, how many people got the AstraZeneca shot? How many people died before they said, oh, wait a minute here. Wait just a minute here. Who are the guinea pigs that had to die for them to put a halt to that? Who are the guinea pigs who are having to die for them to say, hold it on the Johnson & Johnson? This, what's her face? You're going to like this. We've all felt the bite of social media because social media, especially during COVID-19, has cracked down on so-called disinformation, which is code for something conservatives talk about that we don't agree with. So we censor them, we ban them, we tell them they can't come back. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if we disappear from YouTube now. We'll see. We will see. If they do it again, we're done with YouTube because we've got an opinion. This is America. We should be allowed to share it, right? They don't think so, but we do. So we were slapped by YouTube and shut down for a week because I said something that didn't agree with the communist Chinese government's World Health Organization. You don't doubt for a minute that they are communist. They are communist. Dr. Tedros, non-doctor, non-medical doctor, in bed with Xi Jinping in China. Just the way it is. And Joe Biden, of course, he was quick. He loves China. He doesn't mind the fact they're killing Uyghur Muslims, doesn't care. No, just cultural differences, says Joe Biden. Our man Joe, just a cultural difference. They commit genocide. They commit atrocities like Hitler. Just a cultural difference. They're all right. I'm not going to, he said, I'm not going to question President Xi on that. No, they're just different than we are. We don't, well, that shows you the mental acuity of the world leader. Scary, isn't it? So if we say anything about the vaccine that might make people think twice about getting it, then we are the bad guy. Social media frowns on that. YouTube personality, what's-her-face, is not only very funny, but she's also very topical, using humor to highlight the absurdity of what is going on in America. Now, I've got the audio from the video here. You can find the video at What's-Her-Face YouTube channel. You get a whole bunch of them there. In this piece, which you can find, she's also on other platforms too. What's-Her-Face speaks about the thing of which we cannot speak. Listen and enjoy. This is What's-Her-Face.
Hello. My name is What's-Her-Face. Recently, several of my colleagues and I were deleted from Instagram for telling the truth about, I'm sorry, for spreading baseless theories and dangerous misinformation about one of our modern medical miracles.
Yeah.
One that I dare not speak of. Today, I would like to offer my, what is it? My sincerest apologies, and I come to you with a special announcement. I am now a proud member of the cult of scientism. I am here to assure you from firsthand experience that the shot is 100% safe. Aside from the heart palpitations, brain fog, facial paralysis, heavy period, breast swelling, blood clots, schizophrenic tendencies, and feeling like my soul has left my body, I feel like a brand new woman because my DNA has literally been altered.
Okay, that's enough.
Just kidding.
Just stick to the script.
I said what you asked me. Thank you very much for watching, and please remember to continue complying because we will be going back to normal in approximately 2 more weeks. And if you can, please support my Patreon because I had to shut down my business to appease the masked zombies.
Keep being a funny guy.
I said what you...
I said that's enough.
I mean, I gladly sacrificed my livelihood for the greater good. All right, guys, until next time, don't forget to double mask and stick the testing swab right up your ass. Bye. Is that good? Listen, man, take me, but leave the cat out of this.
All right. That's what's her face, and she's a ticket, and I love that, and she's right. I mean, she's right. Are we still on? I don't even know if we're still on. I guess we are. The numbers are way up there, so I guess we are. That's just see, no liability. Yeah. How many people? I'm curious. How many listeners have gotten the vaccine? I just like to know. I'm not saying that I'm not going to get it. It's being suggested strongly by people close to me that I should get it. But I've got reservations. I do. I just have reservations about it. Anyway, we'll talk more about that if you want to. And we've got a lot more to come. We'll get back to what is going on in the country with the tyrants and with immigration. Absolutely horrible. Absolutely horrible what is going on in our country with immigration, all for a singular purpose. It's all a means to an end. And we can't go much further in this direction. We can't. They are winning. Every single day, the borders aren't closed to illegals. Every single day, Joe Biden gets his way and Kamala Harris gets her way. Every day, we are this much closer to totalitarian rule. The border crisis is a crisis. It is a surge. It is an invasion. And make no mistake, it is absolutely by design. And it has nothing to do, nothing to do with compassion, has nothing to do with humanity. It has nothing to do with God's spark of divinity in all human beings, as Nancy Pelosi likes to say. Nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with power and control. Make no mistake about it. We've got more to come. I hope you come back. A lot to get to. Go ahead, use social media. I don't have the text line. I don't have the listener line, which is not that busy generally anyway. The last few times we've gotten some not so savory language on the radio from that line. So I sort of tend to avoid that now unless I have a guest that I'm planning on having on. So just saying. Back with more just after 10 o'clock now. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally. Please come back.
Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Sales and service by a family who cares. Whittemore and Sons, Whittemore and Sons.
There are some things you can simply never depend on, like a perfectly cooked meal from the microwave. Will it be hot or will it be cold? There's only one way to find out. But know that you can always count on Whittemore & Sons in our line of Coyote tractors. Coyote tractors are machines made to work, whether it's mowing, tilling, digging, lifting, or hauling. Check out the full line of tough and versatile Coyote tractors, attachments, implements, and accessories at Whittemore & Sons, your Coyote tractor dealer, with dependable sales and service for over 50 years. Run ahead of the pack with a Coyote tractor from Whittemore & Sons on the Waterville Road in Skowhegan. Sales and service by a family who cares.
From work to fun, we'll help you get it done. Whittemore and Sons, outdoor power equipment.
This is Molly from Rod Cycle and RV. We're about a year into the pandemic, and we're all searching for some sort of normalcy. Picture yourself sitting by the campfire with friends and family, your favorite drink in hand, sharing stories and laughing. I bet you thought of a specific night. We want to help you find your normal. We have a large selection of new and pre-loved travel trailers and fifth wheels, fully stocked parts store, and the best camper service around. Rod Cycle and RV, Route 201 Madison, or online at rodcycleandrv.com. We're not trying to be the biggest, but always trying to be the best.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland with still breezy northeasterly winds. Mostly sunny tomorrow, mid-50s to near 60 degrees away from the coast. Partly sunny 50s on Thursday, with rain and the chance for some snow Friday into Saturday morning.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Faith Abube. The FDA is recommending a pause on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine after a number of cases of a rare but severe type of blood clot were discovered in women.
They were all women between the ages of 18 and 48. One woman died. A second woman in Nebraska is in the hospital and in critical condition. Again, the number of cases that develop this rare disorder is small, but out of an abundance of caution, they're calling for a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
ABC's Eva Pilgrim in Detroit, where the governor of Michigan is asking the federal government for more vaccines because of the rapidly rising number of cases. The CDC says Michigan needs to shut down again to stop the spread. More protests north of Minneapolis last night following the fatal police shooting of Dante Wright. The officer involved is said to have mistaken her service weapon for her taser during a traffic stop. The prosecution could wrap up its case today in the Derek Chauvin murder trial a short distance away. This is ABC News. Federal safety investigators are now looking into complaints that airbags might not inflate properly in about 750,000 GM vehicles. Most of them are full-sized pickups or SUVs from Chevy, Cadillac, and GMC, all from the 2020 and 2021 model years. So far, there are more than a dozen reports of malfunctions, but no recall yet. An arrest warrant is out for a man accused in a multi-million-dollar scam connected to the Vatican.
Italian police are on the lookout for Gianluigi Torzi and 3 others suspected of crimes ranging from tax fraud to money laundering. Torzi, who is believed to be in England, allegedly issued bills to the Vatican for more than $15 million for work apparently never carried out. Vatican prosecutors say he was involved in a plot to defraud the Vatican Secretary of State. Last month, though, a British court reversed an earlier order to freeze Torzi's bank accounts in a case that revealed what the court called appalling misrepresentations by the Vatican. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
Faith Abube, ABC News.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's in a few John Deere commercials this year, but she's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker behind the wheel of a 1 Series tractor. With her iMatch Quick Hitch, backhoe, Quick Park Loader, and Auto Connect mower deck, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven is as easy as... Renee runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Hear Renee's story at Deere.com.
Hi, I'm calling to schedule a shipment.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can turn your business upside down.
Last pickup is at 7. Team, we gotta hustle.
Like at Sumita's online chai company, to avoid back orders, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Mouse in the machine there, I guess. Welcome back. Freedom's Pep Rally is here. John James, your host, your rally leader. I am your leader. Come on over here. It's good. Seriously, it's good to be here with you. And I do appreciate your being here. And a lot of stuff to get to about the border crisis. We'll finish up on this, what's going on with the police. And then we're going to move into what is really going on at the border and why is it going on? It's all going on for a very sinister reason. And you probably know what it is. I've known for a long time. We've talked about this on the show. We've talked about it many times on the show. And we're going to talk about it again this morning here on Legacy 1160 WSKW. I just want to make sure there's nothing else to cover on these shootings now. I mean, and isn't it, somebody else brought this up, and coincidence? I don't know. Isn't it interesting how mass shootings have resumed since Joe Biden got into office? Now, do I know if there's any correlation? No, I do not. I'm not saying I do. But it is kind of interesting, isn't it? It is kind of interesting. And it seemed, like clockwork. And guess who's getting a pass on everything? The rioters. On mainstream media, the rioters are getting a pass on everything. We saw it yesterday at the press conference. If you watched the press conference with the police department, Minnesota, you had reporters there basically accusing the police of causing problems. They weren't asking questions. They weren't doing journalism. And the police chief handled it with grace and dignity. According to this from the Blaze, Mayor Mike Elliott, black mayor, and again, I hate to say race, but we are forced to say race because the left will not stop talking about it. Morgan Freeman, a great black actor with the most enviable voice in the world, said, how you stop racism? Well, you stop talking about it. Why won't the left try that? Because then it might subside a little bit. We might find that people seem to be more colorblind and get along. No, they want us to talk about race at every turn. They want critical race theory in K through 12 schools and then again in college, more of it. They want to tell you that all white people are racist. And the people saying this, by the way, are mostly white people. Well, Raphael Warnock, the Georgia senator, the communist Georgia senator, who is accused of beating his wife before the election, but he won. Interesting how he won. He had heavyweight more ways than one, Stacey Abrams backing him. Yeah. Oh, she's as pure as the driven snow, that Stacey Abrams. Remember, he said from the pulpit, the Right Reverend Raphael Warnock said, America needs to repent from its worship of whiteness. Said that from the pulpit. We are being led, so-called led. These aren't leaders. These are not leaders. These are dictators. There are leaders, Ronald Reagan, Donald Trump, George W. Bush after 9/11, Bill Clinton when he wasn't having affairs. Not Joe Biden, not Kamala Harris, not Raphael Warnock or Nancy Pelosi or Ilhan Omar. I've got something about Ilhan coming up. You're going to say, what? What? Ilhan Omar gets her way again? Well, yeah. Ilhan Omar, one of the most powerful people in America. And she may not even be, remember, she married her brother. She committed incest to get here. Boom. Her campaign caught buying ballots, mail-in ballots. A guy caught with by the Veritas Project with a trunk full of ballots that the Ilhan Omar campaign helped buy and pay for. Oh, but they love Ilhan. Oh, the left loves them some Ilhan. Some people did something. The Minneapolis Police Department is a cancer. We must dismantle the police department so something beautiful can rise. Remember, those are famous. They'll go down in history. Famous Ilhan Omar quotes. And now she gets another pass. Wait till you hear this. First of all, let's do this story from the Blaze. Mayor Mike Elliott last evening commandeered the city's police department thanks to help from the city council. The council voted to fire city manager Kurt Boganey, who promised Monday that the officer involved in the shooting would be given due process. Mike Elliott, the mayor, doesn't like due process. But wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Isn't that part of the Constitution? Due process? Well, I thought so. But clearly the mayor doesn't like police. The mayor is clearly one of the defund the police type guy. Doesn't want due process. Fire her. Get rid of her. Fire her. Well, perhaps we will, but she's going to have her day. Fire her. If you don't agree with the mayor, you get canceled. And he did. During a news conference regarding the death of Dante Wright, before the council meeting, Mayor Elliott explained that Boganey controls the police department, and he gave the city manager the floor. Boganey immediately addressed the now fired city manager. Boganey immediately addressed a prior question about the prospect of firing the officer involved in the shooting. And he said, quote, this is the former city manager, quote, all employees working for the city of Brooklyn Center are entitled to due process with respect to discipline. This employee will receive due process. And that's all I can really say today. But apparently that wasn't right. That's not what Mayor Mike Elliott, who's better than you, he knows more than you, he's got the trial over in his head. He is the judge, jury, and executioner. He didn't like that the city manager, Boganey, called for due process. So he fired him. Tyrants. Don't think I'm kidding when I tell you the left doesn't care about the Constitution. They don't care about the Constitution, that founding document that gives us the Bill of Rights. They don't care about it. It means nothing. It holds no water anymore. They have literally discounted it at every turn. They are literally breaking the law, but nobody ever holds them accountable, and it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. They're taking away your First Amendment by deciding what's hate speech. They are taking away your Second Amendment via the desire to do away with AR-15s and other similar guns, semi-automatics. They are trying to create a gun registry. They are trying to do away with high-capacity magazines. They are trying to pursue red flag laws, which is it plays right along with this story. It's basically they can come take your guns without due process. Due process. It's a huge part of who we are and why we are exceptional. And they're doing away with it. They did away with it in Minnesota. They're doing away with it with red flag laws. What's next? What is next? So this Mayor Mike Elliott, he's black. Have to say that. Now, you have to say that. Now, as a radio host, I have to say that because you have to understand the context. Because the left will not let race go. They will not let race go. So in order to stay on the same page, we have to let you know. The only difference between us and them is we do research. We look to see what happened, the rest of the story, before we pounce, because we don't act out of rage. We act out of objectivity and compassion and clarity and patience. Not them. No. They're a different animal altogether. Mentally ill, I tell you. They have a psychological problem. So, Elliott, this mayor, was elected in 2019 with no explanation, said effective immediately, our city manager has been relieved of his duties. No explanation. Relieved of his duties, and the deputy city manager will be assuming his duties moving forward. I will continue to work my hardest to ensure good leadership at all levels of our city government. At least one city council member spoke up. At a virtual council workshop, Chris Lawrence Anderson said that she voted to remove the city manager because she feared for her property and retaliation by protesters if she had voted to keep him. She went on. Listen to this. He was doing a great job. I respect him dearly. I didn't want repercussions at a personal level. Boom! What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Well, that tells you a whole lot of things, doesn't it? That tells you, number one, first and foremost, the mob is winning. The mob is scaring people into submission. The mob is frightening people toward making decisions they don't want to make simply because they are legitimately scared. Perhaps they shouldn't be doing the job of a council member if they don't have the cojones to vote their conscience. How many people do this? Do you know, have you any idea how many people do this but never admit it? I bet a lot. I will bet you any money The Supreme Court heard none of the election fraud claims because the justices were scared of repercussions from the mob. I will bet you any money right now that the mob is now controlling our government by proxy. Any money. Don't discount that. I'm glad this woman at least had the wherewithal to say, hey, I didn't want to vote him out because he was doing a great job. But I was afraid. I was afraid for me. I was afraid for my family. Hup, mob wins. Wow. When did this happen? Why is this happening? And how many courts in states across the country? They had all these hearings with election fraud, with witnesses, with affidavit signing witnesses who came out not being anonymous, who put their faces on TV saying there was fraud, unafraid of repercussions. Yet the courts said, nothing to see here. Nothing. Biden won fair and square, the most secure election in history. Well, we all know that wasn't true. To this day, anecdotal evidence is coming out that there was all sorts of fraud in all sorts of places. But when you can't trust your government to do the right thing, what recourse do you have? Start over and create a new government? If you're just tuning in, I want to cover this story again really quick. I'm going to synopsize it a little bit. Mike Elliott is the black mayor of this little city. I don't know how little it is there in Minnesota, where this officer-involved shooting took place. Brooklyn Center is the name of the town. So Mayor Mike Elliott, black mayor, fired or dismissed, I guess he needed, apparently, the vote of the city council, dismissed Kurt Boganey, who was the city manager. Now, the city manager, Kurt Boganey, had said earlier at a press conference, all employees working for the city of Brooklyn Center are entitled to due process with respect to discipline. This employee will receive due process, and that's all I can really say today. We assume for that he was let go because the mayor made it clear yesterday he didn't want due process. I don't care that there was video. I don't care that she fired the wrong weapon. I don't care. What I care about is she made a mistake and there's a dead kid that should have never been killed. Yes. Will she be found guilty of something? Most likely she will. Will she lose her job? Yeah, most likely she will. But when on earth have you ever seen the most heinous of criminals told you can't have, due process, forget about it? Everybody gets due, even the people you hate. Sometimes you see the scourge of the earth. Child abusers will have their lawyer speaking for them, and you'll see people say, how on earth would an attorney ever represent this scum? Lock him up, throw away the keys, hang him high. He's all but admitted to doing it. But see, that's American exceptionalism, isn't it? How many times have you heard everybody has their day in court? I mean, like it or not. Sometimes we don't like it, but we accept it because who are we to question it when we see how America has survived for over 244 years? Who are we to question that? So we accept it as, well, this must be good. This is a horrible individual. O.J. Simpson. How many people thought O.J. Simpson should be thrown away and put in jail, throw away the key after Nicole Brown Simpson was stabbed and hacked up and Ron Goldman? How many people said, just lock the guy up forever, throw away the key? He did it. He's guilty. And to this day, I think he's guilty. He lost a wrongful death lawsuit. But America guarantees that due process will be provided to you. You have your right. You have the right to an attorney. And you have the right to have that attorney available during your questioning. And if you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for you by the court. I'm sorry I don't read the Miranda rights every day, but I sure have heard them many times. Never had them read to me yet. But this mayor, Mike Elliott, didn't think that Boganey deserved to be on the job because he wanted due process for the officer who clearly drew the wrong weapon. There's some kind of crime in that, whether she meant to do it or not. She's a police officer. She was trained. Was it the heat of the moment? Was it adrenaline? Probably. Was it racism? Probably not. I don't know. It doesn't appear that it was. That's why you have your day in court. That's why OJ had his day in court. Because that's America. So this guy was let go. And here's the rub. Here is the rub. Cutting to the chase. One city council member did not want to vote for this city manager Boganey's dismissal. It was a woman named Chris Lawrence Anderson. And she only voted to remove him, saying he was doing a great job. I respect him dearly. But she voted to expel him because she feared for her property and retaliation by protesters had she voted to keep him. This happens more than we know. I believe this is why Donald Trump is not president today. I believe that's why America is no longer headed toward greatness again. Because people were afraid of the mob. They were afraid of the violence. They were afraid for themselves and their families. And the story that came out of the Supreme Court was John Roberts said to the justices, and you remember it was the case brought by Texas with a bunch of other states. Of course, Texas had standing. They're one of the states. We're a nation. Texas has standing. Every state has standing to file a lawsuit. But John Roberts I haven't heard the recording. Somebody told me there was a recording. John Roberts allegedly told the justices, if we hear this case, meaning the election fraud case, basically you will be responsible for any violence that ensues, meaning the mob. Why else would Trump judges vote against an investigation into a potential Trump victory during the election? And you know what? You can't talk to people about it. You can't talk to people on the left about this because they're trolls. They're just looking for a fight. Well, there's never been any proof. No, because nobody would hear it. That's why. That's the only reason, I guarantee it. The only reason there has never been any proof of voter fraud is because no courts dared to hear it. Because they too, like this city councilor in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, were afraid the mob would come after them. I don't care if you are, a lowly sidewalk sweeper or a Supreme Court justice. Everybody fears for their physical well-being. People charged with the position that justices and judges are should just take it as part of the job. They should suck it up. They should grow a pair, so to speak, and deal with it. Make the decision that is right based on what is right, not based on your fears. Children. I'll say the same thing about this Chris Lawrence Anderson. I don't care. You wanted to be a city councilor. There's good and bad that comes with it. Sorry, you want the job, you run for election, you get elected, you make the hard decisions. It was stupid of her to say, oh, I thought he was doing a great job. I didn't want him to go, but I was afraid of the mob. That was a dumb thing to say, but you said it. You said the quiet part out loud. Now we know how many of the people like you in similar positions and higher positions think they are afraid of the mob. The mob is now ruling the country by proxy, through the politicians, through Kamala and Sleepy Joe and the rest of them. Pathetic. It's pathetic. It's scary. We're losing our freedom. And you know what? You know who the biggest crybaby is? When it all goes to hell in a handbasket, when we lose everything, when we're under the thumb of tyrants, you know who the biggest whiners and crybabies and people curling up into a fetal position will be? The leftist progressives. Why didn't you tell us? We tried? Why are you so thick? Critical thinking while it means something, not afterwards. Retrospect, hindsight, 2020. We need you now. We need you now. It's 10:34. Got to take a break. A lot more to get to. The border. Whoa, what a mess. Please share the video. Share the video. Share the stream. Share the love. We need to get the word out. We need people to know what is going on. We need to wake people up, because if we don't get all hands on deck, we've got a very powerful and controlling government now, and they are being empowered by the mob, because they too, I believe, are afraid of the mob. They are literally afraid to say anything that goes against the mob. God bless people like Tucker Carlson who doesn't care. We need more people in politics like Tucker Carlson who doesn't care. Tucker Carlson, if he thought this city manager in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota was doing a great job, he would have never voted to let him go, because he's afraid of the mob. If you're a whiny ass baby, don't run for election, because sometimes the heat is on and you have to make tough decisions based on what's right, not on how you feel. We'll be back. I'm John James, and this is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160 WSKW.
Incense and Peppermints doesn't just have a huge selection of scrumptious candies. They have sweet treats that'll bring back wonderful memories every time you share them. Incense and Peppermints has candy that's fun for the whole family, like Jelly Bellies, Smarties, Turkish Taffy, Mellow Cups, Laffy Taffy, and Necco Wafers. And candy that'll take you on a trip down memory lane, like old-fashioned penny candies, root beer barrels, atomic fireballs, Mary Jane's Bit of Honey, and Jawbreakers. They even carry Maine favorites like Moose Poop and Saltwater Taffy. Incense Scents and Peppermints, 48 Main Street in downtown Waterville.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
Us hardworking men still want to look our best. That's why you need to head to Penny's Barber Shop. You'll get an excellent haircut, straight edge neck shave, and a hot towel wrap, all for only $18.
Hi, I'm Christine, and I know what you're looking for when it comes to a great haircut and shave. From traditional styles to new ones, we listen to our customers because we have done it all.
When you look good, you feel good. So call Penny's Barbershop to set up an appointment today at 380-6224. Penny's Barbershop, 173 State Street in Augusta, next to Enterprise.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Townline Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Townline Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Townline is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Townline Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5, Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland.
Okay, hold on. I was listening to, well, this is just like it is at the radio station, listening to two things at once and getting nothing right. Yeah, I know, I got that. I think they're telling me, you're screwing things up there on your end, and I just realized that. I try to monitor two things, and what do we got here? I look a little John. Yeah, I look jaundice. Okay, that's better. It's the setting on a camera here, I think is what it is. Now I don't look so jaundice. Sorry about that. I'm sorry to look jaundice. I don't want to look jaundice. Or maybe it's just my mood. Maybe I'm like a human mood ring. When I get all wound up, when I start craving freedom, I turn yellow. Maybe that's the deal. I'm not certain about that. Legacy 1160 WSKW. It's 1040. And geez, I think we got through that okay. Somehow. I'm not sure how. But like I said, I apologize for having a couple of elements on the radio at once there. But again, that happens from time to time because I'm not exactly what you'd call a professional or anything. I've only been doing this for a few years now. Like 42, I think. 42 years this year. So I'll get the hang of it about the time I'm ready to retire or move into the old folks' home in the day room and sip on orange juice and eat applesauce while playing Pacino. That's a thing, Pacino's a thing for older people. Did you know my grandmother used to play Pacino? By herself. She used to play by herself. And solitaire. She had this board. I'll never forget it. She had this board she put on her arms of her chair, and the board had all kinds of holes in it. And, I was young, so I don't remember why it had all the holes in it. I don't remember what was on this board. It was like masonite, I think, like a small masonite board with holes all through it. And she would put her cards on that, and she would play on that and do puzzles on that. Puzzles, Pacino, and solitaire. And my God rest her soul. I miss her so much. Anyway, enough. I had to do a little reminiscing there. I had to get my mind off what's going on. So I hope you don't mind indulging me for a minute. All right, let's get right to the border crisis. There's a lot going on that maybe you don't even realize, or maybe you do realize it and you just need to hear it from somebody else. Well, you've heard it from me. Now you're going to get to hear what's going on from somebody we all know and respect. At least I do, and I know a lot of our listeners do. And his name is Tucker Carlson. Now, I don't know, probably one of the best pieces he did. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'm going to give you a part of it. I'm going to give you a part of it here. Before I do that, I want to lead into it by talking about our changing demographics. And he is going to deal with that in a more direct way here in just a minute or two. The demographics of America, we know, are changing. The demographics of Maine, our little state, are changing. It began with a huge influx of Somali asylum seekers in the 90s. They started in Portland. This is the way it works in Maine. They start in Portland, which is like the sanctuary of Maine. Ethan Strimling and people of his ilk made it so. They said, come on in, bring them on, come on in. We welcome one, we welcome all. And then they get overwhelmed like they did with this recent surge, this recent invasion. And they say, oh, wait a minute, we don't have room for all these people. Brunswick, hello, Governor, can you help us out here? Take some of these people, okay? And one of the things Ethan Strimling wanted to do is make it so illegals could vote in the city. It's all part of the plan. It's not compassion. It's not love for fellow man. Maybe for a lot of the left it is. There may be a lot of progressives out there who truly want to help people and think their government has the best in mind for these people coming into our state. Oh, asylum seekers, we need to take care of them. That's not how the progressives think, at least not in government circles. They see it as power. Now, if you've never been an elected official, I don't care if you're progressive or not. If you've never been an elected official, you don't know how they think. You see it as compassion and caring about your fellow man and woman. They see it as control and power. It's two different dynamics at work here. And in order to understand how they think, you have to desire an elected position. And once you get there, you'll see the only way for your party to stay in power forever is by changing the demographics and having only people, having us, the Americans, diluted by illegals. I know it sounds crazy. It sounds crazy, but it's true. Stay with me here. Stay with me. So in the 90s, Maine's demographics started to change. And at one time, this is true story. At one time, maybe even now, Lewiston had one of the highest Muslim populations per capita of any city in the United States. Let me repeat that. At one time, maybe now, Lewiston, Maine had one of, if not the highest populations of Muslims per capita of any city in our country. I'm not calling this good or bad. If any immigrant is legal and wishes to assimilate, to be part of the community, to be a contributing member of society, that's good. If not, then that's not good. Many Somalis have become good contributing members of society. I'm not here to judge whether they're legal, illegal, or not. That's something the government should keep a handle on, and the government should do the right thing. But the leftists in the government don't care about the Constitution. I can't say that enough. That becomes very important when we're talking about illegal immigration and all of the other stuff. They are trying to fly under the radar here. You've got to understand that they can't do that. They do it. Okay, accept it. They do it. It's a done deal. They circumvent the Constitution all the time. They aren't going to stop. It's going to get worse. Trust me. Because nobody's pushing back. Nobody is pushing back. They're going to take more and more. It's incremental, you understand. It's bites. It's little bites, baby steps, right? And it has been for many, many years. Until Trump became president, and they saw this guy who wanted freedom. He really, really wanted freedom. He wanted to bring liberty and freedom back into government. That goes against what they want. That goes against their desires. So they put all hands on deck to get rid of him, and they did. I think illegally, and I always will. So the Democrats don't care how they do it, legally or illegally. Progressives don't want you to talk assimilation. They don't. They've made that a word. They can't say that in the government now. You can't talk about assimilating because it might hurt somebody's feelings, make them feel unwelcome, and make them think they have to be like us. They have to learn to talk English, and they have to learn the reading, writing, and arithmetic, and all that stuff. We don't want to. We just want our free money and our free hotel room. They're getting it. They're getting it. They are getting it. Free money, free hotel rooms. I'm not making it up. Research it. Look it up. The Democrats want to scream in your face about how much they care about humanity. They if they cared about humanity, they would prove it with their actions, not try to convince you with words. Wouldn't you think? But they yell at you. They yell at you when you criticize them because they think that it makes you believe they're sincere. And that's just not true. It's not true. The more they yell, the more put off you get, and the more you know they're blowing hot air. And they're ruining the country. And many of your friends on the left have no idea what they're doing. They are mere children. They are ignorant children. They don't know they're destroying the country. They think they're being, inclusive. Everybody matters. Kumbaya, my lord. If you really cared about people, you'd want America to get its house in order so we could take care of our own people, our own veterans, not bring in more that we can't care for. That's not compassion. How is that compassion? Tell me, explain it to me. Well, it just is. You don't need to be, you don't need to use intellect when you're a leftist. It just is. Believe me, I mean it just is. I'm right, you're wrong, shut up. If any progressives are listening to me right now, you need to understand this. They don't care about you either. They do not care about you either. Many of you think they do because they promise you everything you need to live, from healthcare to college to universal basic income. But that too is all for power, and they have you under their evil spell. Immigration a la Biden is nothing more than a means to an end. We've talked about this over and over again. All part of Saul Alinsky's mantra, means and ends. Doesn't matter what the means is, as long as you get to your desired end. Their desired end is total control, dictatorship. And the end is coming very, very quickly if we don't wake everyone up. In years to come, your grandchildren and great-grandchildren may be sitting in their cookie-cutter apartments, looking at pictures of when America used to be free and prosperous, the land of opportunity. Boy, I wish I lived back then, they'll say. Things looked like they were much better back then. So what's happening and why? Well, I've told you. You know. You know exactly what's going on here. Tucker Carlson did a great piece last night explaining what's happening. Predictably, the mob goes cray-cray. They went nuts. They get enraged. They try to get Tucker canceled because they're sheep, maybe lambs even. I don't know. All right, so I don't have the whole thing here, but I've got the meat of it. I've got the best parts. And I want you to hear this. Tucker Carlson, and this is exactly right. This is what is going on right now here in America.
Last week, we said something on television that the usual chorus of hyper-aggressive liars is now pretending was somehow highly controversial. Ordinarily, we'd ignore all of this. Once you've been denounced as a white supremacist for quoting Martin Luther King, you realize none of it's real. It's all another form of social control. Honestly, who cares what they think? But in this one case, we thought it might be worth pausing to restate the original point, both because it was true and therefore worth saying, and also because America badly needs a national conversation about it. On Thursday, our friend Mark Stein guest hosted the 7 p.m. hour here on Fox. He did a segment on how federal authorities are allowing illegal aliens to fly without ID, something that, in case you haven't noticed, you are not permitted to do. The following exchange took place in response to that story. We're going to play the entire clip so you can be certain we're not leaving out context. Here it is. I'm laughing because this is one of about 10 stories that I know you've covered where the government shows preference to people who have shown absolute contempt for our customs, our laws, our system itself, and they're being treated better than American citizens. Now, I know that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. But they become hysterical because that's what's happening, actually. Let's just say it, that's true. If this was happening in your house, if you were in 6th grade, for example, and without telling you, your parents adopted a bunch of new siblings and gave them brand new bikes and let them stay up later and help them with their homework and gave them twice the allowance that they gave you, you would say to your siblings, I think we're being replaced by kids that our parents love more. And it would be kind of hard to argue against you because look at the evidence. So this matters on a bunch of different levels, but on the most basic level, it's a voting rights question. In a democracy, one person equals one vote. If you change the population, you dilute the political power of the people who live there. So every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised as a current voter. So I don't understand why we don't understand this. I mean, everyone wants to make a racial issue out of it. Ooh, the white replacement theory. No. This is a voting rights question. I have less political power because they're importing a brand new electorate. Why should I sit back and take that? The power that I have as an American guaranteed at birth is one man, one vote, and they're diluting it. No, they're not allowed to do that. Why are we putting up with this? So it's a political question, obviously. At least one prediction came true right away. All those little gatekeepers on Twitter did become hysterical. They spent the last 4 days jumping up and down, furiously trying once again to pull the show off the air. Once again, they will fail, though it is amusing to see them keep at it. They get so enraged. It's a riot. But why all the anger? If someone says something you think is wrong, is your first instinct to hurt them? Probably not. Normal people don't respond that way. If you hear something you think is incorrect, you try to correct it. But getting the facts right is hardly the point of this exercise. The point is to prevent unauthorized conversations from starting in the first place. Shut up, racist, no more questions. You've heard that before. You wonder how much longer they imagine Americans are going to go along with this. An entire country forced to lie about everything all the time. It can't go on forever, but you can see why they're trying it. Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions. Let's say that again for emphasis because it is the secret to the entire immigration debate. Demographic change is the key to the Democratic Party's political ambitions. In order to win and maintain power, Democrats plan to change the population of the country. They're no longer trying to win you over with their program. They're obviously not trying to improve your life. They don't even really care about your vote anymore. Their goal is to make you irrelevant. That is provably true. And because it's true, it drives them absolutely crazy when you say it out loud. A hurt dog barks. They scream about how noting the obvious is immoral. You're a racist if you dare to repeat things that they themselves proudly say. Most people go along with this absurd standard. They dutifully shut up. They don't think they have a choice. But no matter what they're allowed to say in public, everyone understands the truth. When you change who votes, you change who wins. That fact has nothing inherently to do with race or nationality. It's the nature of democracy. It is always true. You can watch it happen. You probably have. All across the country, we have seen huge changes in election outcomes caused by demographic change. New people move in and they vote differently. As a practical matter, it doesn't matter what they look like or where they're from even. All that matters is that they have different political views. This is every bit as true when the migrants come from Brookline as when they come from Oaxaca. In Vermont, white liberals fleeing the mess they made in New York turned the state blue. As recently as 1992, Vermont was reliably Republican, hard to believe as that is. Vermont is now a parody of lifestyle liberalism. That's demographic change at work. You see the same thing happening in the state of New Hampshire as refugees from Massachusetts flood north and bring their bad habits with them. Montana, Idaho, Nevada all face similar problems. The affluent liberals who wrecked California aren't sticking around to see how that ends. They're running to the pallid hideaways of Boise and Bozeman, distorting local culture and real estate markets as they do it. Pretty soon, people who were born in the Mountain West won't be able to live there. They'll be, yes, replaced by private equity barons, yoga instructors, and senior vice presidents from Google. Beautiful places are always in danger of being overrun by the worst people. Ask anyone who grew up in Aspen. But in most of this country, it is immigration from other nations more than anything else that has driven political transformation. And this is different from what we've seen in Vermont. Americans have every right to move to new states if they want, even if they have silly political opinions. But our leaders have no right to encourage foreigners to move to this country in order to change election results. Doing that is an attack on our democracy. Yet for decades, our leaders have done just that, and they keep doing it, and they keep doing it because it works. Consider Virginia. The counties across the river from Washington, D.C. now contain one of the largest immigrant communities in the United States. Most of these immigrants are hardworking and decent people. Many have been very successful in business. Good for them. But they also have very different politics from the people who used to live there. Their votes have allowed Democrats to seize control of the entire state and change it into something unrecognizable. Governor Blackface Klan Robes in Richmond owes his job to immigrants in Arlington and Falls Church. Similar trends are now underway in Georgia and North Carolina and many other states. Mass immigration increases the power of the Democratic Party, period. That's the reason Democrats support it. It's the only reason. If 200,000 immigrants from Poland showed up at our southern border tomorrow, Kamala Harris wouldn't promise them health care. Why? Simple. Poles tend to vote Republican. That's the difference. Democrats would deport those migrants immediately. No more hand-wringing about how we're a nation of immigrants. Hundreds of thousands of likely Republicans massing in Tijuana, that would qualify as a national crisis. We'd have a border wall by Wednesday. For Democrats, the point of immigration is not to show compassion to refugees, much less to improve our country. It's definitely not about racial justice. Mass immigration hurts African Americans maybe more than anyone else. Immigration is a means to electoral advantage. It is about power. More Democratic voters mean more power for Democratic politicians. That's the signature lesson of the state of California. Between 1948 and 1992, the state of California voted for exactly one Democratic presidential candidate, one. Alone among America's big population centers, in vivid contrast to Chicago and New York, California was reliably, proudly Republican. For 8 years, no less a figure than Ronald Reagan ran the state. California had the country's best schools, the best infrastructure, the best economy, not to mention the prettiest natural environment on the planet. California is a model for the world. In 1980, Ronald Reagan, its former governor, became president of the United States. In retrospect, it never got any better for California. Midway through his second term, Reagan signed something called the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986. Though he didn't likely realize it at the time, that law made future Ronald Reagans impossible. The Immigration Reform and Control Act brought about an amnesty and a path to citizenship for nearly 3 million foreign nationals living in the U.S. illegally. The next year, by executive order, Reagan added to that number. He halted the deportation of another 100,000 illegal minors, the dreamers of his day. The rest of the world watched carefully as this happened. Would-be migrants everywhere concluded that there was no real penalty for breaking America's laws. In fact, there was a reward. Reagan also signed a law that required hospitals to provide free medical care regardless of immigration status. The Supreme Court had already guaranteed free education to anyone who showed up without a visa. So, free hospitals, free schools, amnesty if you get caught. Why wouldn't the rest of the world come? They soon did. If you're ever bored, go back and read the coverage of the 1986 amnesty bill the day it passed. Everyone at the time, in both parties, in the media, assured Americans that the new law would control our border. It was called the Immigration Control Act, after all. The opposite happened. Huge new waves of migrants arrived immediately, many of them illegal. California was transformed virtually overnight. It became a Democratic state. In 1988, George H.W. Bush narrowly won California in the presidential election. No Republican has won that state since. No Republican ever will win in California, not in our lifetimes. There are now about twice as many registered Democrats in California as there are Republicans. How'd that happen? There's not much debate about it. The counties in California with the highest percentage of Republicans are, not coincidentally, those with the lowest percentage of immigrants, and vice versa. California changed because the population changed. Analysis, for example, the 2012 presidential election showed that if you were actually from there, if you'd lived in the state of California in 1980, you probably still voted Republican. Your views hadn't really changed. But as your state swelled with foreign voters, your views became irrelevant. In the fall of 2018, a columnist for the New York Times wrote a piece that was literally entitled, "We Can Replace Them." In case you wondered who the them was, the column told you explicitly. Thanks to demographic change, the author noted with hearty approval, the state of Georgia will soon be controlled by Democrats. Quote, "The potential is there. Georgia is less than 53% non-Hispanic white," end quote. Again, that's a New York Times columnist. It's not some QAnon blogger. They tell you that demographic replacement is an obsession on the right. No, it's not. They say it's some horrifying right-wing conspiracy theory. The right is obsessed with it. No, the left is obsessed with it. In fact, it's the central idea of the modern Democratic Party. Demographic replacement is their obsession because it's their path to power. In the summer of 2019, then President Donald Trump promised, falsely as it turned out, that he was going to deport huge numbers of foreign nationals living here illegally. Kamala Harris's response to this was revealing. Harris could have argued, as Democrats often do argue, that deportation is cruel and it's un-American. But she didn't say that. Instead, she told the truth about it. Quote, "Let's call this what it is," Harris wrote on Twitter. "It's an attempt to remake the demographics of our country by cracking down on immigrants. That this threat is coming from the President of the United States is deeply reprehensible and an affront to our values. We will fight this." But wait a second. Donald Trump had announced he was deporting illegal aliens. Illegal aliens aren't allowed to vote in our elections. They're not even allowed to live here. How is sending them home to their own countries, quote, an attempt to remake the demographics of our country? Illegal aliens shouldn't even count in the demographics of our country. They're not Americans. Kamala Harris's response only makes sense if you believe that the millions of foreigners breaking our laws to live here are future Democratic voters. And that's exactly what Kamala Harris does believe. Unfortunately, most Americans don't have a say in the matter. Most Americans aren't even allowed to have the conversation. So they watch from the sidelines as their democracy is murdered by people who claim to be its defenders. Democracy, 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 screams the Twitter mob. Even as the votes of the people who were born here decline steadily in value, diluted and increasingly worthless like the US dollar. This is what it looks like when an entire native population, black and white, but every one of them an American, is systematically disenfranchised. Middle-class Americans become less powerful every year. They have less economic power, and thanks to mass immigration, they now have less political power. The leaders making these changes have no sympathy for their victims. They blame the country for its own suffering. You always hate the people you vote.
All right, Tucker Carlson, edited somewhat. Find the whole thing on foxnews.com or YouTube. Sobering, isn't it? Sobering. So why is Kamala not going to the border? She's in charge. She was named by the puppet, her puppet, Susan Rice's puppet, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's puppet, Joe Biden. She was named as being in charge of the border. So why hasn't she gone there? Well, you may or may not be surprised by the answer. Another thing by design. Stick around. I'll be back. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
It's a new year. Aren't you tired of walking over the same beaten up old flooring? It's time you installed a new floor that offers premium durability by contacting HT Winters about their line of Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. Tarkett is designed to stand strong in all seasons against water, dirt, and sunlight. The best way to improve your home this winter is to install Tarkett Pro Gen tile and wood flooring. HT Winters, 43 Bay Street in Winslow, and online at htwintersflooring.com.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland with still breezy northeasterly winds. Mostly sunny tomorrow, mid-50s to near 60 degrees away from the coast. Partly sunny 50s on Thursday with rain and the chance for some snow Friday into Saturday morning.
From the Home Auto Group Studios, Farmington Ford and Franklin Chrysler in Farmington. This is WSKW, Skowhegan, Augusta, Waterville, Legacy 1160.
ABC News, I'm Faith Abube. The FDA is recommending a pause on the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine after a number of cases of a rare but severe type of blood clot were discovered in women.
They were all women between the ages of 18 and 48. One woman died. A second woman in Nebraska is in the hospital and in critical condition. Again, the number of cases that develop this rare disorder is small, but out of an abundance of caution, they're calling for a pause in the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
ABC's Eva Pilgrim in Detroit, where the governor of Michigan is asking the federal government for more vaccines because of the rapidly rising number of cases. The CDC says Michigan needs to shut down again to stop the spread. More protests north of Minneapolis last night following the fatal police shooting of Dante Wright. The officer involved is said to have mistaken her service weapon for her taser during a traffic stop. The prosecution could wrap up its case today in the Derek Chauvin murder trial a short distance away. This is ABC News. Federal safety investigators are now looking into complaints that airbags might not inflate properly in about 750,000 GM vehicles. Most of them are full-sized pickups or SUVs from Chevy, Cadillac, and GMC, all from the 2020 and 2021 model years. So far, there are more than a dozen reports of malfunctions, but no recall yet. An arrest warrant is out for a man accused in a multi-million-dollar scam connected to the Vatican.
Italian police are on the lookout for Gianluigi Torzi and 3 others suspected of crimes ranging from tax fraud to money laundering. Torzi, who is believed to be in England, allegedly issued bills to the Vatican for more than $15 million for work apparently never carried out. Vatican prosecutors say he was involved in a plot to defraud the Vatican Secretary of State. Last month, though, a British court reversed an earlier order to freeze Torzi's bank accounts in a case that revealed what the court called appalling misrepresentations by the Vatican. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
Faith Abube, ABC News.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's in a few John Deere commercials this year, but she's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker behind the wheel of a 1 Series tractor. With her iMatch Quick Hitch, backhoe, Quick Park Loader, and Auto Connect mower deck, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven is as easy as... Renee runs with us on a John Deere 1 Series tractor because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Hear Renee's story at Deere.com.
Hi, I'm calling to schedule a shipment.
Indeed knows unexpected employee turnover can turn your business upside down.
Last pickup is at 7. Team, we gotta hustle.
Like at Sumita's online chai company, to avoid back orders, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, welcome back. Freedom's Pep Rally is here. Thank you very much for being part of it. All right. So, What's up with Kamala Harris and the border? Remember, she was chosen by the puppet or the puppet masters. I'm not sure which. Of which she is one. She's not the only one, by the way. She's one of them. She is hoping, or maybe now that she's seen the heat, maybe she's not hoping. But I still think she is hoping something bad happens to Joe because she is so hungry for power. So hungry for power that she will do anything. She will wish for anything. She will wish ill. Come on, Joe. Morning, Max. Ken, howdy. So this is getting out of control, and every day that goes by with a border surge. By the way, just so you know, I don't want you to be surprised and hurt when you find out that if you think it's a border surge or an invasion, which I do, AOC, and I know you care what she thinks, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says you're a white supremacist. But she says that about everybody. She says everybody who's white's a white supremacist. I mean, we were born white supremacists. We were born racist. That's what some people say. You know, the white privilege, the systemic racism. You know what? They just will not let up. And they know they're dividing us. You understand, don't you, when they talk about reparations? Who do you think came up with the idea for reparations? Slavery reparations. For those of us who have not a racist bone in our body, who would never, ever think of condoning slave ownership, but do like to remember history. We like to know what our history was. We like to recall the good and the bad parts of history. We had to go through the bad to achieve the good. Right? Right. But when they talk about reparations, they don't care. The ruling class doesn't care. They don't care about reparations. They don't believe for a minute. Some of them probably do. They don't believe for a minute that this generation of people owe our hard-earned money for sins that our great, great, great ancestors committed. They don't believe it, but they know by talking about reparations. Yeah, follow me on this. This is true. Now, you're going to learn more about these people and their sinister ways. The reason they push for things like reparations is because it drives that wedge. Whenever you see people saying, we need reparations now, it drives that wedge. It creates that chasm between us. And this is what they want. Understand, this is why they do all of it. It has nothing to do with solidarity, with inclusiveness. Nothing to do. Nothing to do with it. It's just that so many people don't see it. So, reparations. All they've got to do, all the left is going to say, we owe reparations for slavery. And the compliant sheep listening out there in YouTube and Facebook and Twitter land will, yep, we need reparations. Yep, whatever you say, Joe. Yep, whatever you say, Kamala. Whatever you say, yep, we need it. And they just echo it without thinking because they don't have the ability for critical thinking. Maybe they can learn their lines just great to get ready for a Shakespeare play or something like that. And they can flawlessly do a script for a play that somebody wrote or for a TV show somebody scripted. They can read the script and comply with it perfectly. But when it comes to critical thinking, no, Nope. So Joe Biden, this was kind of odd. Joe Biden suddenly tweeted yesterday defending Kamala Harris. Well, because he knows she's being criticized for not visiting the border. So Joe Biden comes on and defends her. Well, it's pretty indefensible. I'm sorry. I don't care how many people you have working for you. If you're the boss, there's nothing that aggravates me more than having somebody in control of the radio station or the widget factory, having the boss control but never getting in with the workers. You know, how can we help you? How's it going? What's happening here? What's going on? What can we improve? I can't stand hands off. They will tell you what to do, and they will never ask you what you're doing or how hard it is or can we help. We've all worked for those people, huh? We all have worked for people who don't want to get their hands dirty. They're too good. They are too good. Hey, I will call the shots. You grunts do the work down there at the border. So Joe Biden felt he should defend her after John Cornyn, who is a senator from Texas, questioned who was in charge in the White House. Ooh. Do we know? Do they know? Maybe they know. I don't know. Sure, they have a better idea than we do. So here's what he tweeted. When I served as vice president, I asked to be the last person with the president before big decisions were made. And VP is providing the same counsel to me. He tweeted, she is the last voice in the room and never fails to speak the truth as we work to build our nation back better. Build our nation back better, he says. Build it back better, he says. It's the great reset. John Kerry, 2021. So I got to build the nation back better. Well, you're off to a fabulous start, Josie. And you trust her. You trust her to speak the truth. He says, I trust her to speak the truth. That woman wouldn't know the truth if it bit her in the... Easy now. He included with a tweet a picture of the two of them talking inside the Oval Office. Oh, it was a precious photo. It warmed the cockles of my heart. Actually, it didn't. Actually, it made the hair on my arms stand up and my neck and in my ears, and that's too much information. So why is Kamala in charge of the border? Well, okay. All right. Now you're asking a question that has an interesting answer, not a surprising one, but an interesting one. And I want you to understand, nobody is doing anything to make America great. That ended on January 20th when Joe Biden took the oath of office, which he never intended to uphold. Never intended to uphold it. His only intent was to tear down. He didn't have any great ideas of how to build back better. His idea of building back better is just undo everything Trump did. Well, that was easy. Somebody already did the hard work. Taking it apart is nothing. When my dad used to build things, and I would rip them apart, or I would take the phonograph apart to see how it works, that was easy. Could I put it back together? No. Well, this is what Joe has done. Joe and Kamala have done this. They've taken everything Donald Trump achieved, and he achieved a lot. You're blind. If you don't realize that, you're blind. Even Van Jones, a communist, recognized that Donald Trump did some good things. He recognized, as a black man, Van Jones recognized it and said, Donald Trump did some good things for the black community. Historically, black colleges gave more money to them in 4 years than Obama did in 8. The First Step Act, I think that's what it was called. And there were other things. Joe Biden made it hard for African Americans back in the 90s with his stupid crime bill that put more blacks in jail. Yet he claims, oh, they love me. They love me. Well, a lot of them love Trump this time. But Van Jones said Donald Trump did some great things for the black people. And you remember Anna Navarro and Joy Behar excoriated Van Jones for saying something nice about Trump. In fact, Anna, the freaking loser Navarro, how petty is this? This is national TV, by the way. I'm on a little dinky radio station here, Legacy 1160, which I love, which I'm very proud of, by the way, here in the great state of Maine. But I'm on this little dinky radio station here, and I wouldn't get away with that. What Anna Navarro said, I wouldn't get, you know what? I would be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed on this little radio station if I said something as petty as Anna Navarro did. She said, how could you, Van Jones, how could you have a smiling picture taken at the White House with Candace Owens? How dare Van Jones have his picture taken at the White House with a black woman who just happens to be a conservative. Therefore, by Joe Biden's definition, she ain't black. You've got a racist right now in the White House, 2 of them, counting Kamala. They're both racists. They're both racist. And the progressives don't even know it. They don't even know it. They think, oh, they are so inclusive. They care about all of us. Really? Really? They're destroying it for you and me and all of us. You just don't realize it yet. You're way back in the book. We're on forward chapters. We're way ahead of you. You've got to take up some speed reading like post haste, or we're all going to be dead before you know anything's wrong. So, Kamala Harris, placed in charge of the border, a smug opportunist who has actually said that sending illegal aliens back to their own country is wrong and deplorable. She said that. And they are on the same page. They are on the same page. Joe and Kamala are right on the same page. More immigrants, more votes, lets American citizens left to decide who runs the country, or lets non-American citizens to decide who runs the country. Because in a free society like we have, and hopefully will have, we go back and we go Democrat, there's some Democrat wins, there's some Republican wins. When things go too far one way, there's always, they come back the other way, and it's always been like that. And we've dealt. Because in a free society, the majority of a country's citizens will always, in the end, choose freedom. Listen to me, leftists. Listen to me. That is not what Joe and Kamala and the leftist politicians in Washington want. They do not want freedom. They want quite the opposite, as a matter of fact. They want power, they want control, and the sooner the better. So where am I going with this? Well, today's progressives, we know, don't like the system, so they're fast-tracking its exit by making new states, packing the Supreme Court, inciting racial tensions, opening the borders, These are all their plans. They're talking about D.C. statehood again. Coming up soon, they're going to vote. They're going to have a vote on D.C. statehood. But it's unconstitutional. They don't care. Don't you understand? The more power they get, the more control they have. And they can, if it's nothing but leftist progressives in power, who's going to stop them? If they want to trash the Constitution, which they're doing, ball it up and throw it, deep six it, who's going to stop them? They're all on the same page. They all want the same thing. If one wants to throw away the Constitution, the other will say, go ahead. The third one will say, three-pointer, yeah. They're all in lockstep. So former House Speaker Newt Gingrich was on Fox and Friends yesterday, and he tells you exactly what's going on with Kamala Harris, Queen of the Border, and why she was given that role. Listen.
They wanted Harris to be in charge of the border because they knew she wouldn't do anything.
Bingo.
This is not a mistake. This is why they refused to call it a crisis.
There you go.
They want the border to be open. Go back and look during the presidential primary debates. They all are in favor of open borders. They're all in favor of eliminating ICE. They're all in favor of eliminating any threat to sanctuary cities. So from their perspective, the next 10 or 15,000 people, are good because it further increases the total number of illegal immigrants in the United States, which is what they want. I think somebody said that Biden has invented a whole new policy of grab and bus rather than grab and release.
I don't think it's working, though. I don't think it's working. This is embarrassing. It's overwhelming the whole agenda.
But of course it's working. What if your goal was to have the maximum number of illegal people
Bingo.
in the United States? How would you do better than Biden?
Right, exactly. And perhaps that's why they're not calling it a crisis, because it's working exactly as that is planned.
Exactly.
So,
and that's why they appointed Kamala Harris, because they knew she would do nothing.
She would do nothing. They knew she would do nothing. That's what she's known for. Are you aware of that? That is what she is known for. She's known for doing nothing. Cases in point right here for you. Listen, Kamala fans, I know the women cheered when she was vice. Look at that power walk. That is one strong woman. We need our daughters to grow up like Kamala Harris. She's a powerful woman. She gives women strength and power. You don't want your daughters to grow up like that unless you're a child abuser. Yeah, I said that. I said the quiet part out loud, except it's not quiet. And by the way, it's not a secret. And by the way, I do not apologize for it. Let me tell you why. When kids in San Francisco were sexually abused by the clergy, the attorneys for the priests gave Kamala Harris campaign money when she was the district attorney. She never prosecuted the priests. Boom! Kamala cares. When Tara Reid accused Joe Biden of rape, and she said, the woman must be heard, and then was shortlisted for Biden's VP pick, Tara Reid? Tara who? What? Who are you talking? I never heard of any. Tara, not another word about Tara Reid, who we've got to hear. She's power hungry. She's a liar. She's smug. She's opportunistic. She is Kamala Harris, power woman. The devil wears Prada, or whatever she wears. Pantsuits, I don't know. No, I know Prada isn't a clothing item. It's a color, right? Is that color Prada? And yeah, I did see the movie. I did like the movie. No, she is a devil. She is absolutely a devil. Doing nothing gives her power. doing nothing. She knows this. So it's an easy gig for her. All she's got to do is be a pretty face. And at every turn. I'm not going to the border this week. Right? Oh, mothers want their kids back in school. Kamala. I think I'll call her Cam. Kamala, Cam. We'll call her Cam. I call Pamela Pam. I'm going to call Kamala Cam. Makes me think of Cam Edwards, he's a firearms host. He used to be an NRA host. Now he's working for one of the other publications. Cam Edwards, a great gun guy. So when I look at except the difference between Cam Edwards and Cam Harris is Cam Edwards is a patriot and believes in freedom. And Cam Harris is a socialist communist wannabe and will be. And is trying to work to that end, means to an end. Never, ever forget about that. We've got to take a break here, and we will be right back. Stick around. Stay with me. I'm John James.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Spring is the time of renewal for both you and your home. So brighten your day and your surroundings with great items from Town Line Antiques. Do you love classic decor? You'll find furniture, artwork, glassware, signs, and hundreds more pieces around every corner. Their classic colors and styles will have you thinking spring and feeling invigorated every time you see them. Or maybe you enjoy collecting books, comics, coins, sports memorabilia, watches, or classic electronics. Town Line Antiques has rare items that you won't find anywhere else. Town Line is also showcasing a new display of art glass that's absolutely dazzling. Each piece is one of a kind, with its own unique flair of colors and form. You simply have to see them to appreciate their beauty. And for everyone who loves to bring items back to life, they're now carrying high-quality fusion mineral paints that give you beautiful color and a durable, long-lasting finish. Town Line Antiques, open Tuesday through Sunday from 10 to 5. Route 201, right on the Winslow-Vassalboro Town Line.
In Maine, an astonishing 1 in 5 people will experience sexual violence in their lifetime. But you can support survivors, bring awareness, and help to bring an end to sexual assault during the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center's 10th annual 1 in 5 5K. This year, it's a hybrid event. You can participate virtually or in person at First Park in Oakland, Sunday, April 25th. All proceeds benefit the Sexual Assault Crisis and Support Center. For more information and to register, go to silentnomore.org.
What's important here at Moody's is we have a lot of opportunity for upward mobility.
Moody's definitely helped me through. They sent me to school. I got my degree in business. I had the demeanor and I had the willpower and the want.
Our trade is constantly changing and there's always new challenges that arise.
I definitely feel like an owner. It's very exciting.
When you like what you do, you like your job, you like the people you work with, what else could you ask for?
Bring your skills to Moody's and build a long-term future with us.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland with still breezy northeasterly winds. Mostly sunny tomorrow, mid-50s to near 60 degrees away from the coast. Partly sunny 50s on Thursday with rain and the chance for some snow Friday into Saturday morning.
All right, welcome back. Hey, this is the final lap? No, this is not a horse race. The final half hour. Just suffice it to say, hi, welcome back. I'm John James. And this is Freedom's Pep Rally. And I teased earlier, and I totally forgot about this, and I want to tell you about it. Ilhan Omar, of course, and boy, oh boy, I'm telling you, if anybody is deserving of that piece of work, it is her constituents. She has gained favor again. This is worth mentioning just because it clear show of favoritism. And then I've got a great piece I want you to hear with Dan Bongino and Geraldo Rivera. If you missed this dust up, whoa! I have never, ever heard anything like the dust up that took place on Sean Hannity's show last night. We'll hear that. But Ilhan Omar, apparently local and state officials. Now, we know that if you watch the news, you know in Minneapolis, there was a curfew last night. Probably will be again tonight. Nobody obeys it. I mean, the rioters don't obey it because they're opportunistic. They don't care. And they know the police are going to stand down. And therein lies the danger in our society. More and more police are going to retire or they're going to leave, through attrition, and nobody's going to be there to take their place because there's no respect in the profession. So there was a curfew last night there in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. And it was imposed to prevent violence from the protests. However, Representative Ilhan, somebody did something, Omar, said she obtained an exemption for Muslims observing Ramadan. Okay, so it's a curfew, it's a deadline with exceptions, apparently. So now this is Dante Wright, just to bring you up to speed, Dante Wright, shot by a female police officer who allegedly thought she was tasing him, pulled instead her service weapon, shot him. He drove a short ways and died from his injuries. Horrible, horrible situation. So after the emergency yesterday was announced and the curfew was enacted, Ilhan Omar, who is a Muslim, complained that the curfew might interfere with other Muslims trying to observe the first day of Ramadan. She said, quote, "My office reached out to the Minnesota mayor and governor's offices to urge them to include an exemption to the curfew this evening for travel to and from Ramadan activities and prayer services. The governor's executive order was just announced with that exemption, so the folks are able to observe the first night of Tarawih this evening without fear of arrest," she added in a second tweet. Now, I'm just asking a question here, and this is a fair question. Would the governor and the mayor, would they have done the same thing for Christians going to celebrate Christmas or Jews going to celebrate Passover or Hanukkah? And maybe they would have. Maybe they would have. But do we know? Okay for some, but not others? I mean, crap or get off the pot. Make a decision, stick by it. Oh, well, okay. We'll allow this. Yeah, we'll allow this. Would they have allowed, what I'd like to know is, would they have allowed any other exemption? Somebody ought to try that. Somebody ought to say they've got a Tuesday night prayer meeting at a church. Can I obtain an exemption? I would like to know. I would like to know if it's pandering or if it's truly and genuinely a pass because they want everybody to be able to observe their religious holidays. Well, you wouldn't have known it during the COVID lockdowns, would you? When Christians were kept out of, I don't know about Muslims, were they kept out of mosques? Maybe, I don't know. But I know Christians couldn't go to church. There was a church, I read about it recently, a fence was put up around a church to keep people from going in because the church wasn't observing the protocols, the demands of the government. Same thing just happened to a restaurant in Burbank, California. Great big fence was put up around it by the authorities, so nobody can get in and out of the restaurant. I'll tell you this. I've got it on my list here, and I will tell you about it coming up. So that's my question. I just want to know, would it be the same for anybody, or was it because it's Ilhan Omar and it's Ramadan? I don't know, but I thought it was worth talking about. And while we're talking about religions, why don't I tell you about another school issue? Now, yesterday we had the teacher who was just railing on students and their parents because these California students and their parents wanted in-person learning, which has not gone on for more than a year. The kids are depressed. They aren't learning anything. They're getting way behind. There are even suicides. The teachers refused, the union refuses to put teachers in harm's way of a disease that is 99% survivable. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. But you let people go to school during the flu season, more kids die during the flu. Not gonna do it. We're not gonna do it. Shut up. So the teacher says, your parents want to criticize the way I do distance teaching. I dare them to come down here. I dare them to come talk to me about my profession. I know my profession, and your parents are stupid. She didn't say that, but that was implied. So here's another attack. President of the American Federation of Teachers, her name is Randi Weingarten. Maybe you've seen her. She attacked the Jews who criticized her union's efforts to keep schools closed for in-class instruction. As members, she called these Jewish people members of the ownership class. Excuse me, Randy? Hello, Randy? Are you okay mentally, or do you need some intervention? Because that was just a stupid thing to say. You're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to be woke. You're supposed to be inclusive. Now, I'll bet, again, I'm not picking on a religion here, but I bet she wouldn't have said the same thing about Muslims. Bet she wouldn't have. I'm just saying, again, I'm not picking out religions, but I'm just saying, seeing the pecking order in the country now, there are certain groups you cannot say anything about. And there are others who are fair game. Christians and now apparently Jews are two of them. Fair game. Season's open. Go for it. She said, Randi Weingarten said, American Jews are now part of the ownership class. She said that in an interview. 63-year-old, you think she'd know better. She wants to represent 1.7 million members of the union. She was responding to those who criticize efforts to keep schools closed while they exploit coronavirus for billions in stimulus money that will not be spent for years. So I'm going to coin a phrase, I think AOC used it, regarding Jews. Because they hate Jews. They hate Jews. They hate Israel. They hate the fact that Jerusalem was recognized as Israel's capital under Trump. They hate the Jews. Jews, we hate the Jews. AOC said, it's all about the Benjamins. That's what she said about Israel. That's what she said about Jewish people. That was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who was almost killed by Ted Cruz during the insurrection on June 26th, or rather January 6th. I was almost killed. I had to get behind my door like this. And she wants an Emmy Award, apparently, for best role as a mook. Well, she wins it. She's got my vote. So she hates the Jews. Ilhan Omar hates the Jews. Randi Weingarten, Teachers Union, hates the Jews. Jews, we hate the Jews. We hate Israel. In fact, how long before anybody called Benjamin Netanyahu? You had Frickin' Kamala Harris calling everybody and their brother. Trudeau, Macron, everybody except Netanyahu, one of our biggest allies in the Middle East. Netanyahu didn't call him. No. He's Jewish. He's part of the ownership class. It's all about the Benjamins, right, AOC? What do they care? What do they care? Go ahead, say something negative about Ilhan Omar. See how quick they come and say, you're an Islamophobe. How long do you suppose it would take for them to jump? Islamophobe, xenophobe. Donald Trump shut down travel from China because the China virus, right? Who? The very guy who said he'd do better. Joe Biden said I'd do better. If I was in there, I'd do better. Called him a xenophobe for stopping travel to China. So apparently, if Joe Biden had been president then, he wouldn't have stopped travel from China, where the virus originated. These people are so disingenuous, so dishonest, such liars, so smug, so I'm better than you. It's like, here, Trump, hold my beer. Watch me destroy the country. I'm going to destroy the country, Trump. Hold my beer. Well, they're doing a pretty good job. I'm impressed, Joe, Kamala. I'm impressed. You aren't letting us down. You're destroying it right on cue. Right on cue. Because that's what you came in with the intent of doing. You didn't want to work. Joe Biden, I swear to you, Joe Biden had president. It was on his, I think it was magneted to his refrigerator. Is that a word, magneted? It was on his refrigerator on a magnet note or a sticky note. Bucket list. Get the milk, take out the trash, feed the dogs, become president. Oh, please, Jill. Hey, let me run for Senate. President. Whatever. Before I die. I want to win before I die, Jill. Okay, Joe, go ahead. Run for president if you want to. We could use the money. The place needs some work. Hunter's bored. Hunter's bored. We need to get some more Chinese business for Hunter. He's just depressed. He's hanging out in the basement there. He's on Facebook all the time, picking up these chicks over in Russia and the Ukraine. Hey, he picked up the mayor's wife in Moscow last week. Good job, Hunter. It's criminal. Truly is criminal. 10 to noon, Legacy 1160, WSKW. Live stream 24/7, brought to you by the Harry J. Smith Company on Sanger Avenue in Waterville. And we've got the video stream all over the place. We're all over the place with the video stream. Brought to you by Moody's Collision Center on Sanger Avenue in Waterville. And our little show here, Freedom's Pep Rally, is powered by the Gun Shop on Coney Circle in Augusta. And I am so happy you are here because we have more. Yes, we have more to talk about. Guns. Let's talk about guns. Now, you remember I told you that the Constitution it's just an obstacle. You know, it's like one of those old fences at the border that Donald Trump tried to replace with a big, beautiful wall to actually keep people from invading America. So there was like these little horses, these little sawhorses with sticks across them that a 2-year-old could limbo under. That was the border wall. And it still is a lot of the border wall because Joe stopped it because it's inhumane. It's inhumane. That also means, in other words, our potential future voters can't get in if we keep the door locked. We've got to unlock it for them. So he did. So when I tell you they don't care about the Constitution, I completely mean that. They don't care. The Constitution is not an obstacle to the progressives. It just isn't. It's non-existent. It's a non-starter. They don't care what it says. They prove it every single day. Now, one of the things that Joe Biden is trying to do, he just outlined his plan for gun control last week. It would make it easier for red flag laws for police or family members, just based upon the word of a jilted ex-spouse, girlfriend, an angry sibling who didn't get a big part of the inheritance. All they would have to say, under Joe Biden's compassionate gun laws, is, I think John is dangerous to himself and others. I think you ought to go look at taking his guns away. And dutifully, law enforcement could come to your place and say, well, we get a complaint from your former brother-in-law, says that he's worried about you, what you could do to yourself and others, and his sister. And so we'd like to have a look in your gun safe, and we're going to take what's there, if you wouldn't mind. And sorry, even if you would mind, sorry. So this goes against the where is the day in court? Where is due process under Joe's America? Well, it's non-existent. Non-existent. And that's what Joe's world, what Joe's America will look like. One last thing. I'm going to give you, you're going to love this. You are going to love this. We had What's-Her-Face on earlier. She is a YouTube personality, What's-Her-Face. And she speaks out. And she doesn't care what she says or who she offends. I do. You can probably tell I walk on eggshells because I don't want to offend anybody. But this woman does not. What's-Her-Face? Here's what What's-Her-Face has to say about the gun grabbers. Listen, enjoy, and check out her YouTube channel.
I think it's time we lower the American flag to half-mast and raise the false flag high and with pride. Because just 6 days after the massacre in Atlanta, there's been yet another mass shooting on U.S. soil. Does anybody smell bullshit? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and it's probably a white guy's fault. Which is precisely the assumption that was made by Blue Check Team Psychosis shortly after news broke that there was a live shooter in a supermarket in Colorado. Kamala Harris's niece tweeted, "The Atlanta shooting was not even a week ago. Violent white men are the greatest terrorist threat to our country." Julie wrote a book. DeCaro stated that she is extremely tired of people's lives depending on whether a white man with an AR-15 is having a good day or not. Uzair Rizvi, a journalist who claims to debunk misinformation, tweeted that the shooter was only apprehended and not choked or shot to death because he was not brown, black, or Muslim. Welcome to journalism in 2021, folks, where feelings are facts and facts are minor inconveniences.
Absolutely.
Like the inconvenient fact that the shooter was both Muslim and not white. He was a Syrian immigrant with supposed ISIS sympathies. Interesting that less than a month after Biden bombed Syria, the invisible Middle Eastern boogeyman comes back from the dead. But that's not the only predetermined takeaway from this tragedy. It's also glaringly obvious that the enemy the media wants you focused on is guns. How do we know that guns are to blame rather than a racist hate crime? Well, because all 10 of the shooter's victims were white. And if this year has taught me anything, it's that you cannot target a white person with a hate crime. It also taught me that there's no such thing as reverse racism, and that Black Lives Matter, Asian hate must stop, but kill a whitey and it's alrighty. Joe Biden may often forget where he left his keys or how to operate his legs, but he will never forget the mantra of all corrupt politicians. Never let a good crisis go to waste. And not only did he ensure that this crisis didn't go to waste, he also wasted no time in exploiting it for political gain. Less than 48 hours after the shooting, our old pal Joe called for sweeping gun control, pointing to a ban on assault weapons and high-capacity magazines and increased measures for background checks. How perfectly convenient. So now you might be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal? What's the problem with disarming the citizens of a country? Won't it make them safer? It's a very good question. Why don't you get out your Ouija board and ask the 1 million Armenians how safe they felt after they were disarmed, but before they were genocided? Or the 6,000 Native Americans who died on the Trail of Tears? Or the 2 million Cambodians killed by Pol Pot? Or the 24 million Russians killed by Stalin? In this current social climate rife with genocidal language, like whiteness is a virus and anti-vaxxers are a national health threat, I'd be especially vigilant when it comes to policies that aim to render Americans defenseless. Because history has taught us that the only reason the government would want to disarm you is that they're about to do something you would shoot them for.
Oh, yeah, she's good. She's good. Love her. What's her face? YouTube. You'll find her. Have a great afternoon. I will see you bright and early tomorrow. Well, not too bright, not too early. 9 o'clock, following the Mike Violet Show. So don't go anywhere. I'm John James. This is Freedom's Pep Rally.
Legacy 1160, WSKW.
Many things change over time, but since 1972, one thing hasn't changed at all. That Delta Ambulance will always be there when you need them most. Delta Ambulance prides themselves on having a team that utilizes superior training, years of experience, and state-of-the-art medical technologies. So if you need safe transportation for routine or critical care transfers, Delta Ambulance is standing by. Learn more about the difference Delta makes at deltaambulance.org. Compassion, leadership, excellence. That's Delta Ambulance.
I'm CBS 13 meteorologist Lexi O'Connor. We'll see a mix of sun and clouds for today. At times more clouds than sun, with highs in the upper 50s to low 60s, warmest inland with still breezy northeasterly winds. Mostly sunny tomorrow, mid-50s.